The four employees had spent the evening doing something completely ordinary, working a shift at their local burger chef. To understand what happened that night, we have to go back to the streets of Speedway and retrace the final hours of the four employees. And somewhere along these streets, the routine of an ordinary Friday night was about to become anything but ordinary. The employees were simply finishing their shift. Nothing about the evening suggested that they were walking into danger. Inside the lab, investigators carefully examined what evidence remained, hoping it could reveal who was responsible.
Investigators examined every piece of evidence they could find, but one crucial question remained unanswered: exactly what happened to the four victims that night?
But even with the evidence in front of them, investigators still had no clear answer to the question everyone wanted answered. Who took four young people from a burger chef restaurant and why? Every lead had to be tested. Every story had to be checked. But as the investigation continued, a clear suspect never emerged.
And with every unanswered question, the case became harder to solve. What happened after closing? Who knew the employees would be there? And what had investigators missed?
One possibility investigators had to consider was that the employees were confronted after closing. But exactly what happened inside that restaurant has never been established. At some point that night, the four employees disappeared from the restaurant. What happened between closing time and their eventual discovery remains one of the central mysteries of the case. Investigators believe the victims were taken away from the restaurant. One possible direction led toward Johnson County, where they were eventually discovered, but the exact route remains unknown. Somewhere along the way, the trail went cold. By the time investigators reached Johnson County, the people responsible were already gone. But here's where the story gets even more complicated. The evidence could tell investigators what happened, but could it tell them who was responsible? Over the years, different theories have been considered. But a theory is not the same thing as proof, and the true story of that night remains uncertain. Decades have passed since that November night, but the case has never received the ending those four families deserved. 4 lives, 1 night, and a mystery that still has no final answer comes. The Burger Chef murders remain unsolved. I'm Karan James. This was Doper Visions. Remember the missing, question the unknown, and always seek the truth.